My name's Bob Wingenroth, and I have the honor of being city manager here in the beautiful city of Surprise. And on behalf of Mayor Sharon Walcott, Councilmember Roland Winters Jr., Councilmember Jim Biondo, Councilmember Rachel Villanueva, and Councilmember Skip Hall, we really welcome you to this very, very important event in our city. Thank you so much for being here. Now, before I get started, I need to tell you that there's a lot that binds all of us, this special group of people that's in this room. And that's that all of us care. We care about people. We all work to serve people, everyone in this room. At the same time, we cherish our freedom, our liberty, and our safety to be able to go through our day-to-day to achieve our dreams that we're taken care of. And so I want to tell you that on behalf of the civilians, such as myself, and about half the people that are in this room, I want to tell you that we have great honor and appreciation for the police officers and the police leaders that are here protecting our freedom, protecting our liberty, and taking care of the safety for all of us and the people in this great city. We appreciate everything you do. Thank you very, very much. Now today I'm honored to announce several important leadership changes here in the City of Surprise family. And first, my good friend April Reynolds has decided to retire. It's still difficult for me to accept her leaving us. We've been friends since I first considered coming to Surprise. April's a person who cares about people and has done so much for the people who work here. Throughout her 10 years of dedicated service, she's provided spectacular leadership and has accomplished so many things, including affordable health care, fair pay for all. She's taken so much of herself for innovations like wellness in this organization, self-insurance, and taking many of our systems that, frankly, when she got here were in the Stone Age, and she's brought them up to where we are as good as most cities here in Arizona, if not the country. She is an Air Force veteran, she's an athlete, she's a fierce competitor, and she's been an unwavering employee advocate. And right now, thanks to April Reynolds, in this organization, we sit on a beautiful foundation that she's built. So if everyone here could join me in wishing April the very, very best. Now, and you can hear her telling me this, but April told me I needed to move on. And you know what? So I did in a very, very big way. I'm thrilled to announce that following a 40-year career in law enforcement, Police Chief Michael Frazier has agreed to join City Hall as an assistant city manager. This is a guy who has done and seen it all, and we can all learn from him. He will oversee the police, fire medical, public works, and communications department. And then he has aspirations for us, and in fact we have a very distinguished guest in the back of the room from the city of Phoenix, to build an emergency management function here in the city of Surprise. Now, having served as our police chief over the last 4 years, Chief Frazier enhanced police-community relationships, and his department has worked hard to achieve an 18% drop in crime from 2012 to 2014. But equally important on this day, his mentor-style leadership ensures that our police department will continue to flourish under our next police chief, Terry Jung. How very fortunate we are to have this type of seamless transition in our police department. Chief Jung has been with us since 2010, and throughout his more than 25-year career, he's led divisions that touch almost every aspect of law enforcement, from patrol to investigations to policy development. Chief Jung is a true champion of community police partnerships. His presence as an individual is remarkable. He has a quiet strength, and he is a true servant leader. So I'd like to, before we move on with the program, see if one more time you can please congratulate and thank these three fine leaders. Now, before we hear from Mike and Terry, our mayor would like to offer her congratulations. Please join me in welcoming Mayor Sharon Walcott.
Thank you, Bob. You know, when I walked into this building today, and I know everybody could feel the excitement, because it truly is a very special day for our city, and one that is palpable for all of us who work here on a daily basis. It's truly a special day to recognize three very distinguished employees. So on behalf of my colleagues on the council, I first want to extend my sincere gratitude and appreciation to my good friend April Reynolds. For those of you who don't know April, she is a quiet yet very effective leader who has worked behind the scenes on so many levels to help advance the organization in so many different ways, and we can't thank you enough for that, April. She's also one of the most humble, caring, and compassionate people you will ever meet. April, thank you for helping to move this city forward during your tenure here. You certainly are going to be missed. I also offer my sincere congratulations to Chief Mike Frazier, our new Chief of Police Terry Jung, two outstanding individuals who are very deserving of these new roles with the city. Chief Frazier, I have to admit, it's going to take a little bit getting used to seeing you out of uniform and working in civvies here at City Hall. Many of you may know I ran into the chief a little earlier this week at lunch, and he was wearing what I thought was going to be the uniform for the last time, so I had to memorialize it with a tweet, and I tweeted it out. Got some interesting responses, but honestly, he admitted to me that giving up the uniform is probably the hardest part of this whole thing, as you can clearly see. So I think you're going to wear it till what? 11:59. All right. That being said, Mike is a consummate law enforcement professional, something that we all know about him and all knew when we hired him. You must be commended for having accomplished so very much in our police department, and so we very much appreciate that. But I personally am really looking forward to bringing your strong emphasis on public service to City Hall and to the entire organization. So thank you, Mike. Look forward to working with you in that regard. Chief Jung, while the title of chief, specifically police chief, may be new, your 20-plus years of law enforcement service and training make your promotion a very natural one. Just as important, you represent the police department and the city with the utmost professionalism and respect. So I know our police personnel will rally around you as you begin this new chapter with the department, and congratulations to you and your family. Finally, I want to conclude my remarks this afternoon with a quote from the late John Wooden, who many consider to be the greatest college basketball coach of all time. Coach Wooden once said, "The main ingredient of stardom is the rest of the team." I direct this quote to our servant leader, City Manager Bob Wingenroth, for helping build an outstanding service organization in Surprise, made up of employees who are second to none. Bob is deeply committed to the personal and professional growth of each and every individual who works for the city. The organizational culture he has created enables our employees to provide exemplary service to our residents, who are our customers. The council and I are so appreciative of the direction this organization is heading, which also reverberates positively with our residents and throughout the community. Very well done. Thank you so much, Bob. So once again, congratulations to April, Chief Frazier, and Chief Jung.
So now I'd like to ask Chief Frazier to come up and say a few words. And as he's coming up here, I want to let you know that I think most all of us in the room know about his professional accomplishments over 40 years. They are spectacular, out of this world. But what I'm not sure everyone knows is a couple of things, and it's really his character that has drawn me to him as a friend and as a professional to come to this decision. He's a man that cares deeply for his family, and he talks about you all the time. He's also a person that has, as a police chief, you are a celebrity in the community, and he uses that celebrity to raise funds for people who are less fortunate than us. And just if it was just those two aspects of this man alone, he would be great. But I'll tell you, there's about 1,000 more. So with that, Chief Mike Frazier.
Should I cry now or later? Oh, starting 11:59 Sunday. I'll start crying. No uniform. Ooh. Okay. I do first want to introduce my family. Some of you met them coming in, but I do have to introduce them, and I'll start in the back row. Everyone thinks I'm a little, obstinate at times. You haven't met obstinate till you met my sister, but a wonderful human being, Debbie Esparza. Stand up, Debbie. And my great niece. My great niece, Izzy Papp here, who, by the way, used to call me, I think I was the waffle monster, just so you know. And then my oldest daughter, Brianne, my youngest daughter, Tori, actually Victoria Eileen for the grandmas to make everybody happy and keep them in the will. And then really the glue and the rock that keeps us together. She'll get all emotional, but it's true. It's my wife, Barb. So raise your hands to her. I have to start off, and this is going to be one of those 7 years ago deals, but just bear with me here. But when Bob asked me about this, and it was Monday, June the 15th, we had this he came to tell me that April was leaving, and just wanted to let the department heads know. And so we kind of joked around about, maybe if you weren't the chief kind of guy, I might, whatever. So he left, went to fire, and the next thing, about an hour later, we talked by phone, and it kind of evolved to this. I just thought after 40 years, it was probably time to do something else. And another really important aspect is that I know Terry Jung is ready to do this job. I had told Bob over a year ago that if I got hit by a bus, you guys got mad and fired me, whatever the deal was, don't do the typical intergalactic search and then go, he's the guy. I know what the it factor is for police chief, and Terry Jung has it, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a few moments. I also want to point out, April, congratulations. She was the HR director when I was hired here. She's been a friend and mentor for me the entire time, and now she has a cool dog, Jake, with tennis shoes on, so what else do you want? So it's awesome. So, and also, he's not here, I don't see him anyway, is Mark Coronado. But Mark Coronado was the interim city manager that hired me, and I will be forever grateful to him for doing that. So thank you to Mark, wherever you are. I've been honored to serve as the police chief the last 4.5 years, but I'm extremely proud of what our entire leadership team here, our sworn staff, our professional staff, and our internationally acclaimed volunteers, and I'll touch on that in a few moments, but what they've accomplished over the last 4 years. I've often said that while I'm not the smartest person in the room necessarily, I surround myself with really smart people, and we all look good, and I've certainly benefited from that here at the Surprise Police Department. When I did first join Surprise, I will tell you there was a little bit, I'll just be gentle here, the waters were a little rough, a little internal discord, but I knew coming in that somehow we needed to change philosophy and kind of our culture and refocus on what mattered the most. And one of the things that I said from the very beginning is that if we were not focused on solving crime, we we weren't focused on how to serve our citizens better, or we weren't focused on how to improve our internal business processes, we were not focused on the right things. And quite honestly, my intent was to keep everyone so damn busy that we didn't have time to get sideways on anything else. We would focus on the work in front of us, and that's exactly what we did. And that is a credit to the employees because they jumped on board and they got busy and they went to work. And we developed a culture of professionalism, accountability, and fairness. And I think that, again, was a tribute to our employees. Just a couple of examples of what I mean, how we got on board. And one of them was touched on a moment ago by Bob. But we reduced crime from 2012 to 2014 by 18%, the Part 1 crime. We've had a little bounce in 15, but it was something that we predicted. Our population continues to grow, and it doesn't take a lot rocket scientists to figure out that if your population's beginning to increase, you're going to have a little more crime. The good news is, for the city of Surprise, we have such low crime, our officers and staff do such a phenomenal job that our crime, even in a bounce year, is still very, very low compared to any city in the country. So we should be very happy about that. The vehicle for us reducing crime, by the way, was community-based policing, and for many people it's the old buzzword. They think it's some fancy program. Community-based policing is not a program at all. It's just a mindset. It's a mindset of engaging in getting to know the community, doing everything you can to build partnerships and relationships, solve problems, work together to solve problems, and also understanding there's one concept that many people don't talk about relentless follow-up. Whatever it is, if you're investigating a case or doing an administrative project, follow it to its total conclusion. Don't stop till it's done. Leave no rock uncovered. A good friend of mine at Phoenix PD, Joe Kleiman, used to always say, don't just make the arrest, make the case. And that's what we mean when we talk about relentless follow-up. Let me talk about a couple other things. Technology-wise, we have made tremendous advances over the last few years. You know, a lot of departments around the country are still talking about body cameras. They're evaluating, they're doing this, they're doing that. Hey, folks, next month we will have had them implemented for 2 years. They have been a tremendous asset to this department. We can better capture crime incidents. It helps us complete our reports. And very honestly, it holds citizens and officers accountable for their actions. I can tell you that because of those cameras, we are clearing internal complaints against our officers at a rapid pace because we don't have to do the extensive investigations. It's the unbiased eye. It doesn't lie. And for the most part, quite frankly, it clears our officers, and we're very happy about that. We also, we've done things like Spillman Analytics. It's a new tool that our officers are being trained in right now. It's a crime analysis tool where virtually every one of our officers can go out and take a particular area they're interested in. They can look at crime from 15 different directions and then put together a plan to resolve that issue. And we have that in place. We also, a couple years ago, put in some software that allows our officers to complete the majority of their reports in the cars so they can stay out on the road and not have to come into the station. And many of you don't remember this, and I almost hesitate to mention it, but in 2010, there was kind of a security breach, and I'll leave it at that, at our property room. And that problem was still ongoing when I started on Valentine's Day of 2011. But since that time, our security protocols there are second to none. And that's with a lot of help of not just the PD staff, but IT staff. I'm looking at Gina back here. A lot of folks got engaged in that, but now, good luck breaking in. And if you do, we're going to catch you. So in any case, we have resolved those. That's just an example of many types of technology. But I want to talk about a couple real quickly of miscellaneous things. We maintain a very strong presence in the community, whether it's responding to a call for service, whether it's one of our many crime prevention programs, going out and talking about drugs in schools. Recently we had our first seminar on people who, if you have anyone in your family that has mental health challenges, we provided an evening that gave them a lot of resources to be able to fall back on and try to help with those issues. But we're always out there. It's probably a key component of our department. You'll find we have a new public information officer who throws out about, I don't know how many tweets and things on Facebook every day. But interestingly enough, in that little process, one of the things that's happened is that we're now using it for catching bad guys left and right. Every time we have a really good photo, throw it out there, and very typically we hear back from somebody within a very few hours, and it has worked out very, very well for us. We also, in November of 13, and it's coming up again this year and late in the year, and it'll be Terry's to deal with, but we were recertified for the second time in November of 13 by the Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies. And some of you may think that's just, we call it CALEA, think that's just something we belong to. We have to go through a rigorous process to be certified, which means that we're meeting the highest standards in law enforcement. And there are only approximately 600 agencies out of about 18,000 in the United States that actually meet those standards, and the Surprise Police Department is one of those. So it's something our community should be very proud of. About 2 years ago, we also, one of the things when I was hired here, I remember on one of my panels was a bunch of we have some kids here today from our youth council, but I had a young person on my thing and wanted to know what I was going to do in terms of a program for children. And the thing that I knew the best, that I was familiar with from my previous assignments, was creating an Explorer Post. And we right now have a extremely active Explorer Post, 23 to 25 kids. My hope is that ultimately, if we do our job correctly, after they've gone off to school or to the military and come back, that they'll join the Surprise Police Department, and that's our hope. But whether they do that or go on to other successes, they are a phenomenal group of kids. And lastly, when I mentioned earlier our internationally recognized volunteers, I have the last, I don't know what, Jim, 6 years or 7 years, every year the IACP, the International Association of Chiefs of Police, pick 2 winners and usually 3 or 4 runners-up, honorable mention, which is a tremendous accomplishment when you think they're probably reviewing about 200 applications. We've been honorable mention for 6 years, which is a tremendous accomplishment. But we were notified a couple weeks ago that for 2015, the 2 winners are the Surprise Police Department and the California Highway Patrol. So I'd say we're in pretty good company. So if you think I'm playing the role of proud papa a little bit, you would be correct, because I'm very proud of what they do and what our entire department has accomplished. And I want to introduce Terry here for a minute, but I do want to acknowledge one other thing. There are a number of people in this room, and I won't go around, but there are chiefs from all over the valley, some retired, some current, command staff people, and I'm just happy that every one of you came today. A lot of my Phoenix brothers that I will out just real quickly. I see Deb Black here from Glendale PD, Steve Campbell back here from El Mirage, although Steve is going to join me very shortly. He'll be leaving El Mirage in the middle of September, and they're losing a tremendous talent because I recruited him to take my place in El Mirage. So, but anyway, I saw John Bennett come in here, Marcus Aurelius. Raise your hand, Marcus, in the back. You want to talk about intel stuff, tactics, and this is a gentleman who also was a Marine combat medic in Vietnam, and he can tell you stories that'll make your toes curl. So you want to talk to real heroes, talk to somebody like Marcus back there. Now on to my cohort, my partner in crime, Terry Jung. As you all know, Terry will assume my duties on Monday. And I have to tell you, there's not anyone, I think, more prepared to take on that job than Terry. You're never quite prepared because you don't really know what it's like. High-stress jobs, he and I both already suffer from this anyway. There's going to be nights you wake up, you can't go back to sleep. Your stomach hurts, like mine does a lot of the time. It's just because these are people, when you do this, because if you just do this job and you don't care, I guess you probably go home and you sleep just fine, and nothing ever bothers you. But we care. He cares. I care. It's important to us that our officers are out there safe every night and that they're keeping our citizens safe. And Terry Jung is going to maintain that commitment, trust me. There are, again, very few people who can be that true guardian we talk about. That's the new phrase in policing, is being a guardian of the community. One who's a protector, is a warrior when necessary, but then you go back and your first focus is always protecting the community. You know, there's a book I've read, and there's been several editions of it, called The Leadership Challenge, and they talk about attributes of successful leaders. And they've actually done surveys now for over 35 years on 5 continents with business professionals, government, you name it, and they list typically 20 attributes of successful leaders. The bottom part has interchanged. They've kind of taken some out. But every time they have done that survey, the same 4 attributes end up on top. First, that a great leader has to be honest. And I think we can understand that. You cannot tell your people something that's not true. You might have to hesitate telling them, just don't tell them. But don't ever tell them something that's not true, because any group of employees, and cops in particular, know when you're throwing out a smoke screen. So you can never not be honest with them. Secondly is being competent. Who wants to follow someone who doesn't know what the heck they're doing? I don't want to go into a dark alley and there's no out to it. So you want someone who knows the business, knows what they're doing. Someone who's forward thinking. Someone who's always looking to the future, has a vision to the future. Because as we know, our world changes constantly. And if you're not about 5 steps ahead, you're going to find yourselves, if you were in private business, you'll be out of business. And if you're government, you're inefficient. So you always got to be looking to the future. And lastly, you got to be able to inspire people to get on board with your mission, that they will willingly follow you into battle and take care of business, take care of the community. And I kind of look at it as, if you have the competency, the honesty, and the forward thinking, that people do see you as an inspirational leader. Terry has all those qualities, but he also has something else. He has tremendous interpersonal skills. I'm a little more loud and outgoing. Terry's a little quieter. But he's sincere when he deals with people, and you can feel it. He listens to what you have to say, and he takes it to heart. He also is a person who is willing to hold himself accountable and others, an important part. You know, sometimes we can hold others accountable, but we're not so good at doing it ourselves. He's very good at that, and he won't ever ask anyone to do something that he wouldn't do himself. And lastly, a great leader has his character, or her character, has to be above reproach. And there is no question about Terry Jung's character. I would trust him with my life. And so, I would like to be the first to say congratulations to Police Chief Terry Jung, and I have his new badge in my hand, and Bob is going to step forward. Bob. And Kim, this is your moment, kid. I might mention Kim, Terry's wife, is a lieutenant with the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, so hopefully she will be able to put this badge in there without wounding him too bad. So, Terry, you know what I think. I'm going to try to help you out here, Kim. We put a little WD-40 on this thing here first. There.
We did fight with it a little. I'm
Take that one on. Bob, here you go. You're good. Don't break your nails.
We didn't have time to rehearse this.
So, Bob, you want to introduce Terry? Let him say it.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce the Police Chief of the City of Surprise, Terry Jung.
Not fair for my boss to start me off emotional already. I will catch up, I promise. Let me start also by introducing my family. You all just met my lovely wife, Kim. My son is here also. Am I too close to this thing? My son is here also, Brad Jung. He is also 8 years now, 8 years in law enforcement with the Sheriff's Office. So the law enforcement bug is certainly in our family. And this is his girlfriend, Nicole, and I'm so glad she was here with us today. I would also like to start by wishing my very best to April. April was the HR director. When I began here, she actually was part of the process to hire me. She did a wonderful job of making me feel welcome here and acclimating to the city and becoming a part of this family. And I will be forever grateful for that, so thank you. So I have spent some time over the last few days trying to find and put together the words that I thought would somehow do justice to the honor that this is for me. And I think I've decided that words simply will not do justice to the honor that this is for me. But I am going to try to do justice to it anyway. I would like to focus my remarks on a few key aspects that I think really make this occasion that much more special for me. So I'd like to start by first thanking our city leadership, our mayor, vice mayor, council members, our city manager who has appointed me to this position. Let me start by saying about 5 years ago, I took advantage of an amazing opportunity to become a part of this police department, a part of this city. And I can tell you what I've seen in being here is that this leadership places public safety as an absolute top priority. The safety of our guests, our business owners, our residents is clearly a genuine commitment of each one of them. And I think that is seen every day through their words, through their actions, and through their continual support of the police department. So I want to thank you all for that. I know that because safety is such an important factor for them, that they would not take supporting this appointment of me lightly. And I know that our city manager would not take the responsibility of making that appointment lightly. And I want you to know that that confidence in me, as I said to you the day you offered this position to me, is frankly humbling. And I want you to know that I will not take the responsibility that you've entrusted to me lightly. So thank you. Next, because it's my turn, I would like to talk about Chief Frazier for a moment. And truly, he is a selfless leader, so I know that he would probably prefer that I didn't. And I know that he is still my boss, but I am in a unique position that I have the microphone, so I believe that he has to let me for a minute. Let me tell you that in 25 years in the law enforcement business, I have had rare occasion. I'm sorry, I'm getting too close to this thing. I have had rare occasion to see a leader who had the wisdom, the passion, the competency, and the ability to inspire people to come in and change an entire culture, to make it a more positive, productive, professional environment. And he has done just that with the Surprise Police Department. Truly, 4.5 years after him walking through the door, we are a better police department. But I don't believe the fact that we're better today is the legacy that he leaves behind. And I know you're not leaving, really. You're just going, he's made that abundantly clear all week long that he's not leaving. But I don't believe that the legacy he leaves is that we are better today. Here's what I think it is. We talk every day, routinely, about how we get better, and he touched on this. How do we become a better department? How do we provide better service? Whether it's through technology, whether it's through practices or processes that are more efficient, more effective, or whether it's through making hiring decisions to ensure we have the right people in the right jobs that are going to move our department forward. We are always looking for how we are going to get better. And one of the key components to that is and has been succession planning, making sure that our staff is not only competent in the roles that they have, but they are prepared for future roles of responsibility and leadership that will move us forward. So through those deliberate efforts, yes, we are a much better police department today than we were yesterday. But more importantly, we have a culture that has assured that we will be better still tomorrow, better yet the day after that, and the day after that in the years ahead. That, I think, is the legacy he has left. So thank you. So let me finish that note by saying, anybody who's been paying attention knows you have put your heart and soul into our department, and they know what it means to you. And I know, friendships aside, you would not have endorsed, recommended, or supported me to fill your, what I'm going to call, really big shoes, so thank you for that, if you didn't feel truly that it was in the best interests of this department or this city. And so I want you to know that endorsement means the world to me. Lastly, and certainly not least, I'd like to take some time to talk about the amazing men and women who are the Surprise Police Department. And I really feel like I could spend the better part of the afternoon having that conversation, but I think Chief Frazier has described our department perfectly, and I would echo those sentiments. So rather than repeating them, I will tell you this, something that I think is a true reflection of just how phenomenal their service is to our residents, to our community. I cannot go to lunch anywhere in this city without one or more of the residents coming by to thank me for the service that I provide. Each one of those thank yous is invaluable. Each one of those thank yous represents the quality of service that's provided by our officers, by our men and women every day. Each one of those thank yous, in conjunction with the almost daily emails, phone calls that we get expressing appreciation for the service that they received, each one of those demonstrates the strong relationship that we've established with our community. And it's that strong relationship that is critical for the success of any police department. That's what these men and women do every single day. It is their professionalism, it is their commitment to service that has made me proud to be a part of them for the past 5 years, and makes me that much more proud to stand up here and represent them today. So this part's going to be tough. I know I said lastly a second ago, but if you would bear with me. I would not leave this podium without recognizing and thanking my wife for her support. I purposely kept this part for last because I tend to get a little choked up when I'm trying to express my gratitude for my wife. But I can tell you this, I have been fortunate in my career to have enjoyed some success. And while I can't say with certainty whether that success would have been possible without her, I can tell you with certainty it would have been far less meaningful. So I won't make you come back up here again, but thank you. So we are not done yet, but I do want to thank you all for being here. It is truly my honor to stand here today, and it will be my privilege every day to serve as your police chief. Thank you. If I could ask that every member of the Surprise Police Department please come forward and see me up here, I would appreciate that. I think it's been made clear that truly there are no words to express the gratitude of the men and women of this department for all you've done for us. But this is a small gesture of our appreciation. This shadow box, if you all can't see it, has his police chief's hat badge, his police chief badge, his 4 police chief stars, a front and back of a challenge coin that he personally created to deliver to every member of our police department, and a plaque at the bottom that reads, Michael T. Frazier, Chief of Police, Surprise Police Department, served with honor February 2011 to July 2015. Thank you so much.
these guys are the best. These are the ones that protect you all day and all night. Don't ever forget it. Despite all the nonsense you heard of last year around the country, yeah, some of it, sometimes we need to always be better, but all that wasn't because of police misconduct. Trust me when I tell you that. And lastly, I do want to finish up. The men and women here are phenomenal. And again, Terry touched on it, and I want to make sure it's clear. Again, I have the utmost thank you again to Bob Wingenroth. The gentleman is a true leader, and thank him so much for allowing me or offering me this job. And to the mayor and council, the council's changed since I first got here, but the current mayor and council, they've never not supported some of our basic initiatives, and for that we're always going to be thankful. They're just tremendous supporters, and I hope that in my new role, just trust me, I will not let you down. So a big thank you, and I'm going to name them. They're going to say, can he really do that? But Mayor Sharon Walcott, Vice Mayor John Williams, who I don't believe is here, Council Member Jim Biondo, Skip Hall, Todd Tandy, Rachel Villanueva, and Roland Winters. I just want to say thank you for your confidence, and again, I won't let you guys down. And thank you to the Surprise Police Department. You guys are phenomenal.